Girl You Know It podcast greeting, take 3.
Hi everyone, welcome to our podcast for Black Women Connect Vancouver, Girl You Know It. So I'm the founder of Black Women Connect Vancouver, which started in 2017. And Black Women Connect Vancouver is a collective of women who come to inspire, empower, and leverage our strengths and embrace our diverse experiences. It is a community where we can build meaningful relationships and celebrate the beauty of our Black womanhood. So this podcast is all about getting to know us, and there'll be future podcasts where you get to know about different topics. But this one will be for us to just get to know everybody on the team, and I hope that you enjoy it. Welcome everyone. Hey, girl, you know it. Okay, so this podcast is all about getting to know you and like how did we start this and how did we like get to become Black Women Connect Vancouver? Because I'm sure a lot of people have questions about who we are, and we've just seen like our platform grow so much this past it's been 2 months now. So yeah, I think it would be a good time to kind of refresh people's memories what we do exactly with Black Women Connect Vancouver. So as I said, Black Women Connect Vancouver started in 2017, and it was just something fun that I was doing with my sister, and then it kind of just grew, and everyone was like, you need to do this more, put it into Vancouver, because at the time it was in Surrey. And so I was really excited. So I'm like, okay, let me test it out. I was a little bit nervous. I'm did my first Instagram post, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have 30 followers. And I was so excited. I was like, there's 30 Black women in Vancouver who want to join. And then did our first event in the fall of last year, 2019. And it was a mental health panel. And so I think I was expecting about 30 people. I thought that was a good standard kind of thing that was happening. And then after that, I think 70 women came. So 60 people bought tickets, and then 7 people came overall because there was tickets at the door. And it was just this beautiful, magical moment that I was like, wow, this is a need in our community. And so from there, it just kind of grew, and I got to know you, and you joined the team. And so that's been really lovely. So I just wanted to know, what made you want to join the team of Black Women Connect Vancouver? How do you know me? How did you go to future, other events, or was it one time off? So yeah, we'll start with you, Ella.
Okay. First is the best. So I'm Ella Riera, and I am the volunteer coordinator for Black Women Connect Vancouver. And I first heard about the collective actually before the mental health panel. So I lived with Natalia's second cousin, Nisha.
Well, Black cousins.
Black
yes.
cousins. And she was like, you have to go to this Black Girl Magic High Tea in Surrey. And I was like, okay, sure. We got on our Sunday best, and we showed up, and it was so lovely. And I was just like, this is amazing. This is what I needed in terms of being Black in Vancouver and seeing more people like me. And then after the mental health panel, you put out this call for people to join. I'm like, heck yes, I want to join. And at that point, I was also still no new friends. But I'm so glad that I was here. And we're all friends. Yes, yeah. So that's how I got connected. I'm so glad. My spirit is so filled.
Aww. We love having you.
Yes.
What about you?
I'm Natasha. I am the operations manager with Black Women Connect Vancouver. I have known her for forever. So I was involved in the very first event when she was just hosting a Black Girl Magic party. She's like, hey, bring your friends, come over, let's get to know one another, and just let's enjoy time together. And so that was back in 2017, and look at it now. It's grown into something beautiful and amazing, and I love being a part of this as well, too.
Lovely. Arya?
I'm Arya. I am the creative director on the team. I'm also the baby. I'm way younger. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I've known Natasha for a couple years now. I actually was her intern at her day job. And
my 9 to 5.
Yes. And so yeah, I was working for her, and I was doing design stuff for her then, and then she started having her Black Girl Magic parties, and I think I attended a winter one. I wasn't at the summer one, but then I came again to photograph the mental health panel. And that's when I was like, wow, this is actually a thing. Like, there's so many people here. And so many people I followed, too. And people were like, oh, we know you. And, like, it was just such a great opportunity to meet people and really engage with the community and other Black women. And then after that, I think Natasha was like, okay, so do you want to do more? I was like, yo.
I'm like, join the team.
Yeah, so basically that sums up how I got to be on the team.
Lovely. Hi guys, I'm Balisa and I am the project coordinator. I know Natizia from the mental health panel. Really funny. So I met Natizia at the mental health panel, and then you mentioned at the panel that you were looking to generate a team and to grow it, and immediately I was like, I'm gonna be on that team. No second thoughts about it. So I walked up to Natizia and I was like, hey, you mentioned the team, just like email me. And I was like, great. And I think on my walk home I sent you an email and I was like, I want to be on the team. And then she was like, yeah, we're still navigating. But I prayed. I was like, there's no way I'm not on this team. This is about to pop off. And then I was on the team and brought all of my energy and my assertiveness. But Black Women Connect Vancouver has definitely connected me to a lot of women, but I'm so glad that we actually like each other and we get along and we can like hang out and give some folks some advice. And just really just have a good time. So yeah, it's been great so far.
What do you feel that some of your highlights have been this past year from the different events? So the mental health panel was there. We did a holiday party, which was really fun. And then with COVID, I guess now we've had to do virtual events. So we've done the Women in Leadership and then the self-care one that we just finished last month. So what are some of your highlights? Or is it social media? Is it meeting people? Or is it the events? So how do you feel?
So I like the connection. I appreciate like the day-to-day kind of mundane, seemingly mundane, but like actually engaging with people through social media. I've really enjoyed our interview series actually this month. In terms of like getting to know people in the community. There's so many Black women. I was thinking about that, like there are so many Black women in Vancouver and in the Lower Mainland, and like it's just great for each of us to feel like we're not alone. And just that resonating, like, oh, you know exactly how I feel, without even having to say the words, So that's been my highlight, just the connection with people. Yeah.
I absolutely loved running around at the Christmas party behind the scenes. So there was these small pockets of like windows where I could just be like, okay, I'm not doing anything. I can sit down and have a conversation with ladies and just hear how they came to know about Black Women Connect Vancouver, hear where they're from. I remember meeting someone who came from the island for the night for our Christmas party. I was like, wow, that is super awesome and very exciting. But just hearing everyone's story and background, and when there's a lull at a party and you just have a conversation, that's always my favorite moment. So I really enjoyed that.
That's true. Yeah, I think for me it's been, I think all of it too, like seeing the events kind of become bigger than they are now and seeing how everyone can interact with each other has been really like beautiful. I feel like anytime we do events, like my heart just like grows even full, and it just kind of inspires me even more to be like, what else can I do to create more community for Black women in Vancouver? They feel that they can be with other people that understand them. And one thing I love is like we're curating events that include everyone. So it's like if you don't want to go to the holiday party, you're going to go to like the mental health panel. If you don't want to go to the mental health panel, you do the self-care. Like there's something for everyone, and I love that we're creating that for everybody and making sure that it is diverse in who we are as Black women, because we always get so limited in who we are. So yeah, that's something that I love that we're doing, and that we're always talking about that in our team meetings. Like, okay, like how else? Like, is this like, are we showing every like diverse like body types? Are we showing diversity in like storytelling? So yeah, that's something that I really love that we're doing.
For me as the creative director, I think my favorite thing was the opportunity to do the Christmas shoot, or do the promotional shoot that we did last year in November. And it was actually super stressful. doing a shoot is always very stressful, especially when you're doing a group shoot, just because there's so much prep that happens that nobody sees before actually getting on set. But just the energy on set, like these two were with me helping, thank God. But yeah, that energy on set was just so amazing. And the girls, you could tell they genuinely enjoyed being there, and they genuinely like were feeling really great about themselves. They loved how they looked, they loved how they were styled. And they loved the photos once they came out, and it was great to see all the engagement that we got on social media from that. So
100%.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the holiday party.
It was fun for us.
I was dancing when I had a chance to dance. I think I even fell back at one point because I tripped on my dress and I hit my back, and everybody was just like, oh my goodness, what's gonna happen? And I got right up and we started dancing and like doing synchronized dancing. That's my favorite, to just see everybody also, you know, come in with the head wrap or without, get that opportunity to have that intimate moment, to either learn how to tie the head wrap, you know, to wear it for the first time or whatever the case might have been, and then to just be rocking it and everybody's still wearing it. I follow quite a few of the ladies that were still there, and they're still like rocking their head wraps that they got from us. So that's my favorite moment. It's like the aftermath and how people still keep what we do with them on a daily basis is lovely.
Yeah, that's so true.
I don't know if you noticed Natasha was...
She's wearing the head
You know, it's
no help from us.
work, but I got it secured. I secured the head wrap.
So why do you feel that this is a need in the community? So we've seen all the events, but what else? Like we talked kind of about the highlights, but what else do you feel like, okay, we are a need in the community?
I think for me it was during the Women in Leadership panel, and when I think it was when Effa was talking about her story and just how it resonated with everybody. I had tears brought to my eyes. I know some other women expressed as well afterwards that they had tears brought to their eyes. Just being able to connect and relate on that level, I think is very necessary. Even when we come together, everyone's still so enamored by how many Black women there actually are, and to be able to, you know, find pockets of them and connect with them. So I think that's really important, but to also just validate each other, right? Validate our own experiences. And there's a hunger for healing in that way in Vancouver. So that's one thing that I think we feel and is important.
Yeah.
I mean, also, Vancouver is considered one of the most lonely places, and not just for Black people, but, you know, anyone. And because there's so few Black people, and then even within that, Black women, I just think that it's a really important space. Like, and especially, like, personally for me, it's a really important space because I didn't grow up with, like, Black mentors or any really Black women around me. So for me, it was something that I was automatically drawn to because I was like, oh, this is something I felt like I missed, kind of. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think for me, seeing it become a need has been interesting because I think for me, it was because I was doing it just for fun in the beginning, and then it became a need that I saw was like so important to me to make sure that was created, because I don't ever want to make people feel alone in a situation, you know? And that's something I tried as hard as possible to do, is like in my own life and my values and stuff, but especially for Black women, because I was going to start it just for all women, but then seeing it, I'm like, okay, this has to be for Black women only, because we just don't have that space to do that. And so for me, I'm like, okay, this has to be a need, and it has to be done well. You know, you don't want to just start something and it just like is just there, but it's like, we have to do this well. If we're going to do this, we do it well, and because we deserve it. So yeah.
I think for me, the number one thing that we realize is just in society, in the world, everyone is constantly networking. Everyone knows someone who can help them with something down the road a little bit later. And something that encouraged me about Black Women Connect is like we're connecting people who wouldn't normally like know each other. Say like if you're interested in hair, like there's a group of hairdressers. If you're interested in like marketing or different things, like people are coming together being like, hey, I have some resources, I have some skills. How can I help you further along? How can you help me further along? And be connected in that sense, because when we look at what's going on outside in the world, people are always doing that. So like, let's create a space where it's like, it's acknowledged that we are for each other, we will support each other, we will push one another to go further. And I just loved that we could do that for Black women.
Yes, yeah, so true.
I really like what you said about like creating this moment where women are like, whoa,
Yeah.
like we are here and we're like together and it's beautiful. Like it's every single time we have an event, no matter if it's virtual, no matter if it's in person, the look on these women's faces when they realize that they're like part of a community, it's like a novel experience. Like for me to see it over and over again, it's just like, it makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so important that this has been created and creating that space. And then for me, growing up in Vancouver, like born and raised, no black anything, you know, like it's very much like you are on your own. Like my mom would try to teach us Swahili and we'd be like, no, no one else speaks Swahili, so why am I gonna learn? Like you just try to like downplay it, and then as an adult trying to be intentional, and you know, having like an awakening or like a rebirth to black self. I think if I wasn't able to land with Black Women Connect in Vancouver, I don't know what would have happened. So it was like almost like a godsend that like this kind of opportunity, this opportunity, you know, opened up and unfolded, and
we are a godsend to you.
You are a godsend. Creative thinking.
So what else would you like to see happen? Okay, so I mean, COVID's really ruined our plans, but because we had all such great plans this year. So what do you feel like we should, like what is something that you feel like, oh, we should really do this? I mean, maybe not in this year, but maybe in the next year. There's some plans that we're like obviously not revealing to everyone yet, but
I mean, even in COVID, I really, while it's warm and while we can be outside, maybe even do like little nice pod group things and like still get to know each other, because I'm so over Zoom. I'm so like triggered and activated when I hear someone say, do you want to jump on the Zoom call? No, it's like a visceral reaction. So I'm like, it would be so amazing like before like the weather changes, just to do like a small like, you know, handful of people and like maybe like multiply those events so people have the chance to participate, but that would be fantastic.
Little get-togethers.
We'll get together.
Here and there.
Yeah, so like physically distant.
Oh, good.
Following anti-Dr. Bonnie Henry's trend.
anti-doctor.
I thought anti-Bonnie. Yeah.
I'm excited for just events in general. I think, like you said, like everyone is at that point where they're zoomed out. So I'm like, I want to just be able to be close to someone. Like your presence. Like even in this room, I'm like, we are present here. Like no one is calling in, and no one hears the echo of like the bathroom. You all know that people have done that
Oh my God.
several times during this period. But like just gathering in whatever capacity that looks like for the future. I agree with you. It's important and necessary.
Yeah. I think for me, what I would love to continue to see happen is our voices being heard, and not just for our blackness.
Sure. Yeah.
I want our voices to be heard for the qualities that we have in our communities, and not even amongst each other, but just like for other people to see that and not just be like, well, Black Women Connect Vancouver, they do amazing things for Black women, but like we're also known for our other things than are just our blackness. Like our womanhood is just so much more diverse, and that's why I added that into our mission statement. Is like, see us for our diverse nature and our stories and our backgrounds. Yeah.
That's so good.
You don't have to follow up. I love how Aria, when she's thinking, she just nods and she's like, and then she's like, I'm like, but she's trying to remember. You see the wheels turning, like,
But she's so professional.
it's like, I know,
Loading by.
yeah, she's like, remember the question,
What are you looking forward to?
Like, what do you want to see happen?
Yes, you know, this whole time I had my answer and then I forgot it. Recently it just happened that I have met a lot of people, and not people, like Black women who are starting like beauty lines and products and businesses, and they happen to all sort of be related to beauty. And I think it would just be such a cool thing to have like a beauty expo.
Yes.
That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, I definitely second that. A beauty expo with like makeup, hair, all of these things, like fashion or whatever the case may be, especially post-COVID.
Yes.
I know Vancouver's a really fashion relaxed place anyway, so to, have that integration again. I think also extending ourselves to doing more for the community in terms of, working with girls, high school goers, university goers, just being able to build a more generational intention and then also impact as well, to make this as a building bridge towards being in the Black Women Vancouver kind of framework, because I think there's a lot, like I was saying, when you're growing up, there's also things that we can do to prevent the loneliness, to prevent people feeling ostracized, and to give them a voice from a very young age, so that they don't have to be doing this or like going to like years of therapy to try and undo things that we as a Black collective can also start to help them to do.
That's great. Does anyone have anything else in regards that you didn't feel like you had to say? No? Okay. So let's do some get to know you questions. So we have some serious ones, some funny. I mean, we don't know how funny they are going to be, but hopefully it's going to be interactive. Okay, so Elle, go ahead. Pick your serious.
Serious?
Yeah, do serious.
It'd be so funny if I got my own.
I know, I was thinking
Let's
that
talk
too.
about that too.
If you get your own, you can put it back, right?
Who was your childhood cartoon crush?
Cartoon.
Sorry, that was the wrong bowl.
That's what I thought. I put the question in the wrong bowl. Okay.
That would be her question.
So, serious question. Who is my childhood cartoon crush? My cartoon crush, Aladdin.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He had a flying carpet? Take me.
Anywhere in the world.
Yes. Anywhere in the world.
Yes.
Love it. That was such a good, serious question. If I could say so myself.
I think so. Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Tasha.
Okay. Mine's gone. If you could sit down with 3 celebrities to pick their artistic brain, who would they be and why? Celebrity. I'm only thinking of musicians.
Yeah.
I know. Okay. When I was younger, I really, really, really loved Britney Spears. So I feel like I would just ask her, like that.
Ari's like laughing. Our young one, I'm like, you didn't live in the Britney era.
Exactly. She was loved Britney Spears.
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare you?
I was like, that's so funny.
It's like, Britney who?
I know.
I'm like, I know who my artist would be. This is my question. So I expected some deep stuff, not Britney Spears.
So I would ask her, like, right after everything kind of, like, fell apart, like, what was the thing that got her excited to do music again?
Right.
Like, that would be something that I would clearly want to know about Britney Spears. Another celebrity.
What about your crushes? Your celebrity crushes?
Oh.
No, because they will
Changing the crushes?
No, because then you can ask about, because then you'd care to ask them questions. Right now you're just thinking too deep.
Okay, my celebrity crushes. I really love Denzel.
Okay.
Really,
so what would you ask them?
Denzel? Can I just be in movies with you? That was what I would ask. If I just want to be in a movie where I just walk in front of you and like something epic happens after. But that's what I would want to do because I love Denzel. My dad and I go to every single movie at the theater to watch him. Right now, there's no movies in the theater, but I'm really excited about it. Celebrity number 3. Guys, this shows how much I plan things ahead of time. My brain is stopping.
Loki, I think everybody should just answer all the questions.
That's going to take a long time. Because you just want to answer. We'll give you the answer after, all right?
I don't
Other
know.
questions.
It's fine.
Do you want to pass it on to Arya?
Aria, you can have my third person.
Okay. I mean, I actually, I'm not sure who my third person is, but I know my top two is Rihanna, and so that's the two. And because Rihanna, actually both of them are extremely diverse. So they're in music, they also are into fashion, and also they're entrepreneurs. So I'd like to know exactly, how they did everything. I would like them to break everything down. How did they decide like what niche they're gonna go for? How did they choose their target audience? How'd they do everything? I want to know. Yeah, I'll talk to them for hours. Tell me everything. Start from the beginning.
I think
their notebook.
Yeah, I think with Rihanna it would be really cool to see her growth because she did start off just kind of in quotation marks like basic, and then grew from her music. But it's like, was there a time that you were always involved in fashion, or you just were in the music industry? Like, I can grow into this because it's like I can do this too. So that'd be very interesting to see.
We're also still waiting for an album.
I know. I know. She's playing us. I really do. It's never coming.
Yeah, but Rihanna's an untouchable. She can do whatever she likes.
It's true. She's one person I would want to be like party with.
She has more money than Beyonce.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. Because that's why Beyonce's doing her whole line now, so. I mean, Beyonce might see this podcast, you might not say anything wrong.
We are here for it. On the next level, we're ready.
Look, we also love you too, Beyonce. Okay, could you grab my question for me?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Thank you. What is the best self-care practice you use? I think for me, my best self-care practice is positive self-talk. And mostly because even just starting like Black Women Connect Vancouver and then my 9-to-5 job, sometimes you get to like, how do you balance both of those things? Sometimes you get to like get into the negative self-talk if you don't balance it well. If one goes really well and one's not, you're not doing well in, or you feel like you're not leading well in this one and you're leading well in that one, it's like, why can't I do both? And so it's just kind of like remembering both are so extremely different. And like, how do I talk like positively to myself and be like, okay, you didn't expect this to happen in this one area, but you know? So I feel like for me, that's been like the biggest like self-care I can do. Yeah, because otherwise it's like, I'll just crash and nap.
Yeah.
Be like, napping solves everything. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, this is ironic.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking, that was my question.
What is one thing that you would tell your younger self? Well, my young self tells my younger self. This is a good one.
Yep.
There goes the head nod.
No, my younger self, I wish that I was more like confident. I wish I had been more confident in my artistic ability so that I could have started younger. I mean, I knew I always wanted to do something in the arts, but I wish that I'd had the confidence to just kind of go for it when I was younger. And, you know, the other thing is speak your mind, but speak it with grace.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I would speak my mind, but it
fire.
was without grace. I was like,
Everyone gets it.
burning bridges here, there, everywhere. Like,
Petrol bombs.
yeah, no, those would be the two things.
Good. Do you want someone to grab it for you?
Yes. All right, can you grab me that question, please? Thank you, my darling. And then I get my own question. So, what's the biggest dream you have if money and time were irrelevant? Palessa, what a great question. What's my biggest dream? I think I still hold true the same dream that I had when I started going to school, is to open my own private practice, to have it like a dual research and neuroscience kind kind of like a outpatient thing where we can do research on the patients, which also help those same patients that we're working with. If money was irrelevant, and then I'd also have one on every continent. If money was irrelevant, and if time was irrelevant, I would totally go back and study like some kind of like artistic thing. So either if it's like being classically trained in dancing or being classically trained in an instrument, that's something that I would do. Yeah, and then I don't want to say this next thing because it would be too risky.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can do it on our other podcast. Just me and you. Tell me your secrets.
This is wild. Who asked this question? It says, who is your favorite family member and why? Is this your serious question or this is your funny question?
I want to know. Because people are going to watch us and be like, okay.
So she's calling you out.
I'm trying to blame you a little
I guess favorite family member.
Yeah.
She's like, I won't pick my siblings.
Yes. Oh, putting me in the water.
I
here.
am.
In boiling water.
Oh,
Who's my favorite family member and why? I have to say my brother. So I'll tell you a little bit of a backstory. So my parents have 4 children, which was 3, and it was bliss because I was the last one. And then my brother decided to come out of nowhere. And then, he changed my life. He's 9 or 8 years younger than me. And just watching him grow, being like a little thing that couldn't move, and then watching him take his first step before plunging onto the stoop, and I was holding his hand, and then just seeing him grow into the guy that he is right now. But the reason why he's my favorite is because he's so in tune with himself, even though sometimes other people don't understand it and he doesn't know how to relay it properly. He knows who he is and he knows what he wants, and I aspire to be that and to live in my truth and my power. So let's say my little brother. Aww. Yeah, I hope you listen to this.
And then some other siblings are like, duh.
YouTube comments.
Same thing. They would say the same
Would they
thing.
know?
Yes. Well, they'd say me, but then I was like,
okay.
I'm the favorite.
Yeah, honestly.
What's your favorite cartoon character and why?
What's with the cartoon?
I'm like,
I don't know.
who did?
That was me.
Oh.
Yeah. I changed mine from what I was going to
Yes,
ask because I was like, this is too risky.
Just for you, Tasha.
I'm the worst person to ask about cartoons because we didn't grow up with cable.
Oh,
Yeah.
Even as an adult, you don't watch cartoons?
What about movies?
don't change the question. Cartoons.
She didn't watch it.
I didn't really watch
Animated
cartoons.
movies then.
Yeah.
You must have watched
Okay. I have 2. I was obsessed for some reason. I was way too old to be obsessed with this. But I was obsessed with Megamind for some reason.
Yeah, I watched it like 2 nights ago.
It's so funny. Thank you. He's so good. And I was obsessed with his whole character for so long. And then I also loved actually really loved Kim Possible. I think maybe I've watched her maybe all of 3 times. But growing up, I was like, I am so bad at it because my mom doesn't know I'm watching this at grandma's house. If she could, my mom ever came over, it'd be like,
The theme song?
no man. All I know is she had the cute pants and the little belly shirt and the hair.
That's really cute.
That's so funny. Do you mind passing ours?
Oh, yeah.
Pass it down. What is one What is one life-defining moment that changed the trajectory of your life?
This is a serious one.
That is on my
So not funny.
Bring it up again, one more time for the audience. I put my question in the wrong book.
Oh my
So I get to answer the serious ones. All right.
Yes.
Well, yeah, for me, it would have been, I guess, yeah. So yeah, 4 years ago, I got into like a really bad car accident, lost my uncle in it, and just like that whole situation changed my life in terms of how I view life, view spirituality, view death, view recovery, view trauma. Yeah, this is like a lot of things that changed it, but like also like self-care, what that looks like. And then like, cause just like relearning things of like I had like a slurred speech, so like relearning to talk, relearning to like love yourself again physically. Like there was just so much that I feel like it encompassed all of it. And till this day, I feel like I'm at the place now where it's like I'm more spearheading like the trauma into something good. And so like that's a really exciting place for me to be in, because for so long I'm like, will this ever end? Will I ever be happy? But yeah, that's something that for me changed it, but in a good way. I feel like there's a lot of reasons why I get inspired to like make sure others are good in their trauma and understand and want to like talk it out, and think that like wellness within Black women is so important too. Experiencing that, like now I can like understand fully like why we need to talk about it a lot more, and which is also a main reason why I did the mental health thing, because I was going through it, so I was like, let's all just talk about it. And so yeah.
Awesome. All right, my question. Oh.
Read it. Read it.
She got my question.
Read it.
What is the worst date you've ever been on?
We all wanted you to get this one.
Yes. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
For so long.
It was meant to be. The stars aligned.
Okay, so dating is a very recent thing. I'll just preface that. So I hadn't dated in a while, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try online.
Lies. We're just gonna say lies.
What?
And then continue.
Like in her life period.
In my life
like
period,
journey.
it's very short. Within the last like few years.
I got you, girl.
So
We'll wait till you're done.
like everyone, I got to the point in my life where everyone's like, yeah, you haven't met anyone yet? I'm like, no. They're like, try online. So I was like, okay. So I'm like this hopeful, young, vibrant girl. I'm like, I'm gonna go online. I'm gonna meet my Romeo. This is gonna happen. So I joined a online dating site, and I was talking to this guy, and I didn't know anything about online dating. Like, I probably should have read a book before I did it, because he was saying all the right things. Like, yeah, I just love walks on the beach, and I'm like, yes, like I love that. Like, he's romantic and like cute and really great. And so I'm like, I want to meet you. So he's like, okay, I live in North Van, and at the time I lived in Surrey. He's like, so let's meet somewhere. He's like, a little bit closer to you. So he came from North Van all the way, and we were like, let's meet in White Rock. And I was like, you can pick anywhere you want to go in White Rock. And I'm like, White Rock's nice, because like we can like do the loop, because he was like long walks on the beach. I'm like, White Rock is close.
Wow.
Like, let's do this. So he's like, okay, let's get coffee first, and then we'll like gravitate towards like the pier, because everyone wants to go on a date on the pier. Anyways, I did.
Everyone.
I did. I wanted to do the whole stroll, like cute handhold, everything. So he's like, let's go get coffee first. I'm like, okay. So I was like, pick any location. He's like, okay, like let's start with like Tim Hortons. And I was like, oh, Tim Hortons safe. I don't really drink coffee, but I can get a summery drink. So I got the summery drink. So I'm going to the location, and I'm like, this is nowhere near the water. And I show up, and the location that he picked was the Tim Hortons in the hospital. So I literally messaged him because I got there early, and I'm like, it was the hospital, like the Tim Hortons in the hospital. So I'm like, yo, I think you probably didn't search hard enough. Maybe you should just pick a different Tim Hortons. So we picked another one that was like 10 minutes away, so I drove to the other location, bumped into this guy who was like one of the cutest guys in our university, and I'm like, I don't really know what this guy looks like. Like, I'm like, people all told me that you look different from what your profile looks like, so don't expect high things. And so I bumped into him, and he's like, oh, why are you here? I'm like, oh, I'm just meeting someone. And he's like, oh, is he here? And I'm like, don't do that. Like, don't look, because it's super obvious. And sure enough, the guy was there, but I was like, so I got my drink and I sat down, but I sat down on the other side, so it was like the door was here, but I was right in front of the door, so he came in, only black female in the whole coffee shop, like, he'll know it's me, like, super obvious. But he was already there, so he was sitting on the other side, so the guy I was talking to gets his drink and, like, leaves, he's like, good luck. And so then I texted him, like, oh, I'm here, I think you're here. And he's like, yeah, I'm here. So he like literally put his phone down on the table, got up, and was like, Tasha, is that you? And like everyone in the Tim Hortons, whatever they were doing, they look up from, and everyone's like, it's the first union. Like they're meeting for the first time. And you're like so embarrassed. Like I'm so embarrassed at that point in time. So he comes over, shorter than his picture, like doesn't look anything like his picture. And we sit down, and I'm already like, just be open-minded. Like, it sounded really great on paper. Like, be open-minded. We sit down, we start having conversations, and I'm just like, oh, this is not it. So, and I literally, like, sat down, and I could see the clock, and I was like, I think I can only give him 30 minutes. And those 30 minutes were hard. Like, really hard. At one point, he was just having the greatest time. Like, was not really, I was trying to be really polite, but not really, like, mean and abrupt. So I had to learn, like, I needed to work on my signals because he wasn't getting them. So after exactly 30 minutes, I was like, I actually have to go. This has been really nice. And, like, he's like, but before you go, like, I'd love to see you again. And is it possible to see you again? And I was like, in the future, potentially. Like, how you tell someone face to face, yeah, we're not seeing each other soon. This is it. Maybe when we get to heaven, but I'll see you there. It's been wonderful. But it was the most, like, awkward thing. And, like, and I didn't read the book, so I was like, how do you end it? So he doesn't, like, I'll walk you to your car. Like, so it's really weird. Yeah. And I was like, I actually have to go somewhere in this because it's one of those Tim Hortons, like, in a complex. I have to go to, like, a store before I, like, head out. So, like, it was really nice to meet you. Thanks for your time. I'll like, talk to you later. I didn't know what to say. And so he was just like, I just really loved this. I would love to do this again. You're, like, everything I ever dreamed. Like, full on. And I was, like, my heart was breaking inside a little bit. But I was like, I should have known when he picked the Tim Hortons in the hospital that it was not going to go the way I planned. And then I should have also known when he, like, yelled at everyone in the restaurant, like, looked at me, that it was not going to go the way I planned. But I believe in, if you're on a date, like, I believe even if it was 30 minutes, I treated him like a human being. Yes. And the best 30 minutes of his life, maybe it was, I don't know. Like, I don't know him today. But that experience, man, it was something. It was something.
In a hospital, that's new.
In a hospital, yeah, that's very new.
Did you ask him about why he chose the Tim Hortons in the hospital? Because that would be my first question. Like, yo, you realize that other one was in the hospital, right?
I trying to give him, like, the benefit of the doubt. So my tip would be, like, yo, you're taking a girl out in a place you don't know. Do a little bit of research. The location is key and prime. Like, I'm not in White Rock.
I'm not a Tim Hortons.
No.
There's, like, other coffee places.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
especially if in White Rock, that's a little.
We were in White Rock.
Yeah,
like, I was ready to have my dreams made. Like,
but okay, my question is: holding hands on your first date?
Oh, girl, like
that was your dream.
Like, okay,
not knowing this person.
I watched a lot of romantic comedies. Fair. Yeah. The progression is literally 3 days count when you watch a romantic comedy. Like, they are married in 3 days. So I was ready for handhold. I was ready. I'm still ready. You know?
Yes, get your handhold.
I'm ready. Not White Rock. Maybe let's go to a different beach. I'm still there.
Wreck Beach.
No, not that one. I will be at English Bay.
Catch me at English Bay.
Catch me at English Bay.
If you see me.
But no, so that was my question. But good question.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I love that. That was so good.
Yes. Tell us.
It was Arya, wasn't it? Because he's the last one.
Okay.
What is your funniest and shortest entanglement?
Ooh.
The word comes.
It comes back.
Full circle.
Yes. I'm glad Arya and I did. Tell us your secrets.
That I couldn't be risky. Then all of a sudden.
Since I have to do 2 serious ones, you can ask me one.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes.
Get ready.
Okay, so my shortest and funniest entanglement. I was online dating a couple years ago, and I was talking to a guy, and it kind of turned out the same kind of way. You're talking to him, and, like, witty on paper, but it doesn't match, you know? And so talked for a couple days, decided to meet up because I'm like, I ain't playing around. I just want to figure it out. And then we talked and walked in East Van, but at that time I was like living in Kitsilano, so I was like, he picked East Van, like, oh my gosh, girl. Like, and then so we walked, went back to his place, and I was like, maybe this is gonna happen, maybe not. And then like it started happening, and I was like, nah, bro, I'm gone, I'm out. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling this.
You said that?
Yes.
How long was that?
Not very long.
Oh my
I
god.
was just like, no, man, no, man, not
That's
feeling
so
it.
funny. Like not even like an hour, nothing. Like 10 minutes.
So like we walked and talked for an hour.
Okay.
Got to his place, talked for half an hour, and then like started happening, and then it was like getting to like. And I was like,
No.
No.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I thought you were saying like you saw him, you're like, no. Like,
No.
yeah. I'm like, wow, that was fast.
You and Josh are on 2 different.
Yeah, I'm like, wow.
I'll give you 30 minutes.
Yeah. It's like 1 minute.
I gave him the time to have a conversation.
Okay.
But it was like getting to like the thing. And I was like,
you weren't feeling it.
put your pants up. I'm not doing this. He was shook.
Hey, boundaries.
Yeah.
Take them.
And that's my show disentanglement.
That's so funny.
Is that what you said to him? You're just like, bruh, put your pants up. It's just like, oh, you really mean it?
I'm not. He was shook at all. Like, this is a game, like sink and match, like no big deal.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
No.
Wow.
That's so funny.
Okay, then what's your question to her? 'Cause she
Okay. So we.
What's your
did
risque?
you get too questions?
Too serious.
Yeah.
But make sure you know. Hey, founder.
So what? This is a get to know you, not a get to sponsor you. So don't even try me. No, I'll ask you something cute. What's What's the riskiest thing you've done in your younger years?
I'm trying to think of what younger is, because my teenagers were very just blah. So maybe my 20s. Let me see what happened in my 20s. Risky. What's considered risky?
Like risky, you probably don't want your parents to find out about it.
Meanwhile, they'll watch the
They
podcast.
listen.
Yeah.
It's just a
No.
test.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
grown. You're grown.
I
That's my
don't know
question,
if
though.
I've done anything risky. I think I'm more like adventurous in like random ways, not necessarily risky.
Did you ever sneak out of the house?
No, because we didn't really have a curfew.
Yeah, like I was like that would have been when I was younger. Sneaking out.
I mean, I did the whole like you're going out somewhere, but you told your parents you're going to another friend's house and you're wearing the clothes underneath the clothes. Like that was about it. Like so, I don't know if that's like considered risky. To me, I was like, no, that's just what I was doing. So maybe that's risky. Yeah, I did that, but not necessarily. I don't know. I think I'm more like random. Like if I do like something in my travels, it's like jump into glacier water. Like who does that? No one. Like yeah, just like things like that. Like you could die. Like yeah, I'm more risky in that way. Like I'll always do something once.
Okay.
I want to
What's
say
the riskiest thing you've done?
I think it would have been that. Yeah,
Bungee jumping, skydiving.
I haven't done that yet.
Parasailing,
Not yet.
wakeboarding. That's risky.
Yeah.
No. Risky. You could get
I don't like
height.
heights, so for me, it would be anything height. So I guess the riskiest thing I would say was when we did the zip lining at the Victoria Falls in Zambia and Zimbabwe. Because I cried the whole way. Like, it was the most terrifying. Because it was like, I think it was like 2 months before we had done that. That lady, she did the bungee jump on there. And the cord broke. And then she, like, the crocodiles, like, ate her or whatever. Well, she didn't die. She was, yeah, but there was
They
like...
came for her.
Yeah, and then she, like, crawled her way through to the rocks. So I think that was the riskiest time because really, I was more still terrified. I'm like, what if this breaks too?
Yeah.
Like, how long has this rope been here?
And you
So-
still went?
Yeah, because I was forced to do it because someone paid for me to do it, and they're like, you have to do it. I paid for you already, and I couldn't get out of it. So it was my sister Javo and I, and then my other sister and her husband.
I don't care if you pay for me, nothing. I like to live.
Yeah. So the video is like me crying. Like it's literally like, oh my gosh, I couldn't even look down. It was just like, oh, what if we die?
crap.
Yeah. So that was the riskiest thing. Well, thank you for the questions. It was good to get to know all of you. So pretty much like the standard of the podcast we had talked about is we're just going to pick like different topics we want to talk about. If people want to give us questions that they want to talk about, and then we'll go from there. It won't always be all of us. So it's kind of whoever feels there's a topic we want to talk about, we'll invite different guests. And so, yeah, it'll be really exciting to kind of see and get to know people. And if people are following us on Instagram, we're already doing the get to know you in the community. So it's kind of like a prep towards our podcast, which is really exciting. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add. Is there anything else you want to let the world know about you or say? Okay. Well, cheers to our first podcast.
Oh, I finished mine.
Cheers.
Girl, you love it.
There's nothing in here. I don't know why.
Thanks everyone for joining. Catch us next time with Girl You Know It.